The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 is the second part of the final conclusion of the Hunger Games franchise. Why did there need to be a two-part finale? Well,
money, 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 bitch.
because studios like money. This is supposed to be the final showdown between Katniss and Snow, between the 13 districts in the capital. Everything is on the line, the stakes have never been higher, and although those are all the things that were implemented in this movie, it ultimately fell flat upon delivery. First the pros. Jennifer Lawrence's Katniss Everdeen still kills it. She's always easy and enjoyable to watch as Katniss Everdeen, and she really brings her A game as far as acting goes. As far as supporting characters goes, they all played their part well, whichever part they had to be involved in for the show. It was a little bit eerie seeing Philip Seymour Hoffman in this movie after about 2 years ago from his very, very tragic passing. And some of the acting in this are the best that this franchise have put out so far, and there were some pretty good action pieces and a lot of suspenseful parts in the film that kept you engaged through the movie, unless you might have fallen asleep in any other part of the film, that is. And that's the problem with the movie. It's absolutely 100% the pacing. As sometimes it's very fast-paced, it's engaging, you're into it, and you're ready to see what happens next, and then at some points the dialogue-driven scenes slow everything down to a halt. They almost become unnecessary, and it really starts to get boring when you're watching those parts of the movie. Honestly, I almost fell asleep close to 3 times during this movie, and I really was trying not to, but some of these scenes with the dialogue and some of the unnecessary elements in this movie really slowed down everything that was supposed to be the big final showdown of this franchise. And as far as the ending goes, the ending seemed kind of like a Return of the King style ending from Lord of the Rings, where it just kind of went on and on and on. But the problem is, Return of the King's ending, they had to tie up a lot of things, and that ending was justifiably that long. With the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, it was just long in order to kind of fill spots to make it a complete movie. It confused the audience in the theater that I was in. When the movie ended and the credits started to roll up, everybody stayed in their seat because they thought there was going to be more to it. I've heard a lot of people say who've read the books that the third book in the Hunger Games franchise is the least favorite of most. It's a little bit boring and slow, and you know, that's kind of the same thing with this movie. And in fact, I'm going to even bring in Mockingjay Part 1. Both of these are pretty bad as far as pacing goes, and I feel like if they were combined into one movie, they could have really done something special and made this a very good Hunger Games end. And this is why you shouldn't split one book into 2 different movies, because there's so much time that you have to fill either in the first movie or the second movie, and there's not a lot of stuff in the source material that you can include in it. So you have to throw in these cheap dialogue parts or any segment of the last 2 films that seem like they're more just filler because the studio just wants to make a quick buck off of you. Overall, Mockingjay Part 2 is not a bad movie. It's certainly something that the fans of the Hunger Games franchise are going to enjoy. You will see this as a pretty decent conclusion to the franchise, while at the same time, there's just so many elements in the movie that don't work, and the pacing just is so off that it ends up being more boring, and that's not something that you want to say for a conclusion of a franchise. So for the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. So guys, with it being the end of the Hunger Games franchise, well, until they start making spin-offs and rebooting it, what has been your favorite installment so far? For me, it was Catching Fire. Leave your comments down below, tell me what you guys think. If you like this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. Click that red button so you can get updates on the next reviews that I'll be putting out. Guys, thank you for watching. I will see you at the next review.